Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Taurus moon signs, or if you have significant Taurus placements in your chart and are needing a feminine energy to work with or balance within yourself, then this reading is for you. So Taurus, let's get started here. The overall energy for your reading, we have here the change card, Thunder Moon, change card. So some sort of significant, perhaps uncomfortable change is happening for you. There's so many cards here talking about like just trying to get through some sort of difficult transition, and having to stand your ground on something. I feel like there's something coming in. This energy is kind of coming through as being perhaps something that you're resisting, but I feel like not really. It's kind of like you've been asking for a change, but are perhaps not sure how to move towards it or to make the change that's necessary. Perhaps there's something about this that's uncomfortable. And then you have here the growth, trust, and fear. So the fear is what's significant here. And then you have trust and growth. And more of this sort of like egg imagery, right? There's a lot of sort of like the egg is about to hatch is kind of what's coming through. But I feel like there's something here about whatever it is that you're working towards, Taurus. I feel like it's been sort of something that you've been working on for a while. Because the first card out you have here is the Faith card, the Worm Moon. And of course, faith and trust are very closely related, right? Faith and trust. The message that was coming through with this is like, have a little faith, Taurus. Because I feel like there's something like, metaphorically speaking, I feel like whatever it is that you've been working on is sort of like you've been growing it for a while, right? It's kind of like being pregnant. It just takes like a while for like a set amount of time, perhaps, for this spirit child to grow is what's coming through here. So I feel like I'm not literally talking about a child, but it might be for one of you. It's just kind of like metaphorically, spiritually, if you want to call it like that, you're at this point of the pregnancy, quote unquote, where it's like you're about to give birth is what it's looking to me like so close to the actual birth part, but it's like at this point of the pregnancy journey, metaphorically, there's not really that much you can do. It's kind of just like, you just kind of need to like lay back and allow something to happen. It's kind of how it's coming through here. I feel like you have, so like the cards that are describing your energy here, you have the Air, which this card has been coming up so much. I feel like since I got this deck, this is the one that's come out the most. It says unseen potential and hesitation. And then the Patron, finances and mentorship. So the Air is all of this sort of like preparation work, right? It's like preparing for a significant role, perhaps, or significant, perhaps, job, or perhaps mentorship, or like a period of time where you'll be significantly learning something new, right? Like parenthood or whatever. It doesn't have to be that. It's just kind of like, that sort of responsibility is kind of how it's coming through here with the Air. Because this one talks about like accepting responsibility for something that you've been preparing for a very long time. That's what it's coming through with. And there could be this sort of energy of like, I was just hearing like what do I do now? Like, and asking that question over and over again. It's kind of like nothing. You can't do, there's nothing that you can do. It's just kind of like you have to wait until it's time. I feel like it's not time yet for whatever it is. I know that's such a frustrating message to hear, but it's there. These three cards came out for it. The Son of Swords has been coming up so much as well recently, which to me talks about like having a very strong intention to move forward with something, or to like, so it could have to do with like, so it has been coming through recently as being a messenger. Today is just coming through as intention, right? Like having the intention to move forward with something, and allowing that to be sort of like the driving momentum of whatever it is that you're creating. And then you have here the Moon and the Chariot. For this Moon card, I've been paying attention so much recently to like what sign the moon is in, because that shifts like every 2-ish days. So yesterday I tried to do a reading, and the moon was in Libra. And the reading felt like so like romantic. It was all this sort of Libra energy, but Libra can also talk about like overthinking, right? I feel like there may have been some sort of aspect of like, because it feels like the message for yesterday. I'm not gonna go through it, because I feel like the reason why I didn't do it was because it felt very private. Whatever it is that you're going through feels very private, Taurus. It's like, I feel like perhaps you're just like, because of this sort of like a long journey that you've been on, I feel like this is talking about like you've been working on something in private perhaps, or just like it's just for you or something like that. That's like, that's taken a long time to get here is kind of how it's coming through. And it's like you're about to step into some sort of new experience, whatever it is that you've been cultivating or growing or whatever it is, nurturing. You're about to step into this new experience with the moon here, and it's kind of just like, perhaps just like taking it day by day, because with the moon here, it comes through as kind of like the energy shifts every 2 days. I don't know if that's significant for you, but it's kind of like every 2 days you may feel sort of like in a different energy is kind of how it's feeling. Obviously, like it kind of just like it shifts day by day. And to pay attention to that, I feel like maybe the next time the moon is in Cancer might be significant with the Chariot here, because we are in Capricorn season right now. I feel like we already had the full moon in Cancer. We already had the full moon in Cancer. That was at the end of December. So that might have been a significant like turning point for you, the end of December on the 26th. But also maybe like the next time that you're in, next time the moon is in Cancer, because right now it's in Scorpio, how do you feel? Or what, maybe that's a significant timing aspect for you. I don't know when that is. So that might be something significant for you. But in the meantime, the next couple cards here you have are the Purity card, it's a snow moon, and Protection. Because I feel like this is sort of like the only thing for you to do, Taurus, is to just sort of be in this energy of like, this Protection card talks to me about like being carried to the next part of your, the next destination, whatever that is for you. It's just, you're being carried there. You don't even have to do anything is kind of what it's coming through with. You don't have to like stress about it either with the Protection card. And this Purity card is coming up because this is talking to me about like you may be receiving sort of like downloads, or it's coming through as being sort of like fears or like things that you have to sort of clean out of your mental space or your emotional space or whatever. Just like you have to clean up some sort of vibration around whatever this new journey is, whatever this is for you, because the cards that are coming out here, you have here the Panther. So this card, I actually just read the description for this card. It talks about purging and purification, because it's like, I feel like there's actually something that you may be feeling fear about, especially with the moon coming out, because this talks about like the unknown and sort of like mysteries, and can also talk about fear as well. So whatever this new journey is that you're about to go on, there's some sort of fear associated with it. It was kind of coming through as being like, if we're just continuing on with this example of like parenthood, like this example of like, maybe this is too personal, but like not wanting to be like one or both of your parents, kind of like that, like somebody who set perhaps a bad example, or like something that you want to change when it's your turn, is kind of how it's coming through here. Something that you want to change when it's your turn to do this role. Of course, nobody's perfect, right? We can accept all of the mistakes that people have made and all of that. But there's perhaps one thing that you're, one or maybe more, it could be multiple, things that you are afraid of becoming, is kind of how it's coming through. Like, you don't want to become like this, is the download that I was receiving with this card. And that's sort of something that you perhaps are trying to cleanse, or that's the guidance. It's like there's something, perhaps an example of something, or like perhaps just somebody in your life who, or whatever, it doesn't have to be that. It's just like an idea of something, or a fear of becoming like this example. For example, saying that way too much. Purifying that and like purging it and sort of like getting that out of your system before whatever it is comes through, because it could be that whatever it is that you're waiting on, it's kind of like it's not going to happen until this energy is purified, right? Like it's not going to happen until this is cleared. And you have here these two really powerful cards, the Queen of Wands and the Buffalo. So the Queen of Wands talks to me about like being really protective about your energy. I feel like that's necessary, especially if there's like, if this energy is still around you in some way, right? Like this might not be a past thing. It might not be just an idea. It might be an actual energy that's in your space. And it's like, you don't want to become like that. And so it's like having to protect your space, or be really protective of your energy. And also to be like this Buffalo card I love so much. It was talking to me about being very spiritual, but also very practical, and sort of bringing that spiritual knowledge into the physical, practical environment. So I feel like you actually are, or will be, getting a lot of information about what this energy is here for the Panther, of like how to purify your energy from this influence, whatever that is, and bringing that into the physical in a very practical way. The cards to describe that dynamic was the Diviner, which is divine timing and evaluation. So the evaluation part is coming through as being like, just like taking time to assess what this is. I feel like this energy is going to make you really uncomfortable, because it could be something like things are just showing up, or you're getting downloads, or like intuitive energies perhaps about like what needs to change in this situation. Like it's like maybe this, whatever that is, I feel like you're going to know what that is, but it's kind of like, here this talks about sort of like waiting for the seed to be ready to plant, and also being ready to receive guidance as well, or being ready to, like when you arrive there, because it's kind of like you're in this sort of transition period where it's like you're not quite at the thing that you've been waiting for, but you're on the way there. And so it's like being ready for that. because it will arrive. I feel like there's just kind of like this last bit of like purging is kind of how it's coming through, of like something that you are needing to purify or cleanse, and it requires a bit of like standing your ground against whatever this energy represents to you. Okay. There's the next card here is the Judgment card, which I love so much because this talks about sort of like arriving at the destination of where it is that you're supposed to be. So it is coming, because it is kind of looking to me like it's almost like the egg is now gone, right? The shell, I should say. The shell is gone, but you haven't yet like had the opportunity to spread your wings yet. So it's kind of like in that uncomfortable place where it's like you haven't quite spread the wings metaphorically, but there's no shell here anymore, is kind of how it's looking to me. So it's kind of like this protection card feels very vulnerable. Absolutely. It feels like you're in a vulnerable position at the moment, like, or that's at least how you're feeling about it. I don't know if that's necessarily true. It just feels like that. And I feel like you may, this is the part where it feels kind of like, even more uncomfortable. You have here the Wisdom card, because I feel like you're there, whatever it is you're stepping into, it may be that you're looking to the past to find the answer, because the Wisdom card talks about like wisdom that you've gained from the past, right? Like knowledge or understanding, or like how to solve a problem that you've gathered from experience, from the past, from the things that you've already overcome. And I feel like whatever it is that you're stepping into here might be something completely new where you don't have any experience in what this is. And so it's kind of like there's a gap, perhaps like a knowledge gap between what it is that you're trying to achieve and like what you can actually do on your own. I feel like that's where the mentorship comes in, right? With the patron, that there may be somebody here who's helping you to close the gap between sort of like your knowledge, where you are, and like where you're trying to be. It's like the past is not going to help you in this situation, is kind of what was coming through here. Not as a discouragement, Taurus. It's meant to be sort of like freeing, is kind of how it's feeling to me. Like you don't have to, because you may be looking at the past too much, is kind of how it's coming through. Like trying to look back and see, okay, what can I do here? What can I shift? What do I do next? Was just what I was hearing over and over. And it's like, stop looking at the past. That's not where the answers are. There's somebody here that's coming in, I feel like, who's going to help you close the gap. And it's kind of like, so that you had here the guide coming out in reverse, which is kind of this deck, which I love about this deck, is that the messages are not very intuitive. You actually have to look at the guidebook and see what it is that the reversals mean. And so this one was talking about how in the past you have accomplished a lot without a guide, is kind of how it's coming through. No one helped you in this case to get where you are now. And I feel like it's like trying to congratulate you on that. Like you've done a really good job up until this point, a great job in terms of like getting yourself to where you are with no assistance at all. That's the message that was coming through. You didn't have a guide in the past. And so it's kind of like whatever this part is, like you may be actually learning from someone, and that could be very uncomfortable because it's like in the past you didn't need anyone. Why do I need someone to guide me now? That might be sort of like an area of discomfort. But it's kind of like this is something that is supposed to be done with a mentor, or it's like the mentor is needed to close that gap, right? There's like a significant shift that you're trying to make, perhaps, that requires a mentor. there may be resistance about that because in the past you accomplished everything that you needed on your own, is how it's coming through, Taurus. Okay, I feel like I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but because we're already at 20 minutes here, but we have here next the owl, the fire ant, and the bear. So the owl to me, so this is the wisdom, right? But this card in this deck specifically talks about receiving a blessing or receiving a gift of some sort. So it's like you're receiving perhaps knowledge or wisdom from another that perhaps you can't get on your own, or it's like, I feel like it's kind of like coming from somewhere else is what this is feeling like. Receiving some sort of knowledge or blessing from somebody to close this gap that you've been trying to cross is kind of how it's feeling to me. And with the fire ant and the bear, this fire ant talks about like an area of discomfort, but has all of the things, like it has the answer for you, whatever this is. Because it was reminding me of like in Harry Potter when they're trying to find the answer to something, and so Hagrid tells them to follow the spiders. Not the same animal, but it serves the same purpose. It's like follow the spiders, follow the thing that makes you uncomfortable is kind of what's coming through here. There's also a lot of energy here about like doing something that scares you, right? Like there's something, I don't like the word scare because that kind of feels more like spooky, and that's not the right word. It's like something that you are afraid of. Doing something that you are afraid of or that causes fear or anxiety, or just like the fire ant to me is just discomfort. It's uncomfortable. It's like having like a wound or irritation somewhere in some area of discomfort. But like that's exactly what it is that you have to move towards in order to find the answer to what it is that you've been seeking. It's like this is the place where there's answers. But it requires having to go through the forbidden forest and like facing your biggest fear or whatever that is. And then with the bear coming out, it's like that's where the clarity and the awakening comes in. Right? I feel like I feel like whatever it is that you're moving towards requires this sort of like somebody's telling you move towards the thing that makes you uncomfortable, right? Because that's where all the clarity is. Do the thing that scares you, or but it's kind of like you're protected, Taurus. You don't have to like worry about, because it's kind of like, especially with the panther, right? In response to whatever this panther is, it's like there's this energy of like wanting to protect yourself, which is totally natural. But it's kind of like this is something where it's like this is the fear that's trying to get you to not move forward. It's like that this is something that's like been perhaps like this energy should not dictate how you move. Is kind of how this is feeling. You shouldn't not follow your dream because of this energy, if that makes sense. Because it's kind of like the one voice in sort of like the whole symphony. It's like it's one out of like a million sort of outcomes, perhaps. But that's sort of what I'm seeing as being the dominant energy in this case. It's like the one thing that's guiding your actions when it should be the thing that's almost like the one thing that needs to be removed in order to move forward. Because it's kind of like all the other voices, all the other guidance or wisdom or whatever is telling you to move this in this way. It's like this is the only thing that's telling you not to. It's one voice out of all of the others is how that's coming through. So Taurus, I'm going to leave it there. I felt I had to wait until the moon was in Scorpio in order to deliver this message, because Scorpio is your opposite, and Scorpio does talk about like fear It could be fear, or like very uncomfortable things, or like moving through some sort of transition, like a death and rebirth cycle, perhaps. Anyways, Taurus, I'm going to leave it there. If this reading resonated with you, please like, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.